afternoon. You're very welcome along to Markievicz Park on a glorious sunny afternoon for what is round 3 of Group 2 of the Homeland Senior Football Championship here in Sligo. Tourlestrane versus Calry St Joseph's is our feature game this afternoon. Tourlestrane, obviously the county champions, looking to make it 5 in a row this year. Few hurdles to overcome before that, including today's game against the Calry St Joseph's team that are 2 from 2 so far, with wins over Clanny-Mullinabreena and Giva. Our guest analyst for this afternoon's game is Tommy Breheny alongside me here. Tommy, Tourlestrane will go into this game as favourites. We're sick of saying that, I guess, at this stage, but I mean, they've earned that reputation.
Yeah, no, certainly Tourlestrane have earned that reputation. Warden earned it, Darragh. I don't think, and I think I'm right in saying that Tourlestrane haven't lost a league match in Sligo since the league final of 2014, where they were defeated, and the semi-final of the championship in 2015. So, you know, they haven't lost a game of league or championship in that period of time. So, I mean, rightly so, as you say, very strong favourites. Big squad of players in front of us. We saw them warming up very efficiently. But they're playing a Calry St Joseph's team that definitely, you know, they have ambitions and aspirations. You know, they feel that they have a panel of players that they can do something this year and leave their mark on the championship. And this will be a big test for them this afternoon. And this is the yardstick that the likes of Calry St Joseph's have to test themselves against, Darragh. And really looking forward to the game. You know, possibly a tabletop game in the sense that Calry on 4 points. You know, the likelihood is the winners of this game will probably top the group. Calry still have Tourlestrane, who have also got 2 wins in the group, but it's probably looking like really the table toppers will be either Tourlestrane or Calry. So set for an intriguing afternoon.
Yeah, Clare are still in that mix as well, of course. Their defeat of Clanny-Mullinabreena last night means that Clanny-Mullinabreena really are gone, Tommy. We can discount them. So it's between Clare, Tourlestrane and Calry for 2 from 3 for the semi-finals.
Absolutely. I think mathematically all right, the Clanny-Mullinabreena and Giva will be facing off in the relegation semi-final. So really it's 2 from 3, as you said. I mean, Calera has done very well. Lost a lot of players this year, obviously, with Niall Murphy away, but done very well, a bit like last year. You know, they've kind of snuck under the radar. They've 2 wins out of 2. They're delighted with themselves. They know they're safe, that they don't have to be looking downwards. There's only upwards, really. Nothing to lose, really. Expectation was very low in Calera this year. So, you know, they'll have all to play for that last spot, potentially that last spot against Calry, really depending on how today's game goes.
Yeah, and to a certain extent, is this a bit of a free shot for Calry, because everyone will expect Tourlestrane to win already, even from the outset of the group. It looked like Calry and Calera might be the game to decide who goes through, along with Tourlestrane. You know, Calry pressure off a wee bit in that regard?
Yeah, potentially the pressure is off probably from an outside point of view. From an inside point of view, I think it's the yardstick that Calry want to test them at. You know, this is the level that every team needs to aspire to be at, is the Tourlestrane level. There would be a view out there as well, you know, that you'd only beat Tourlestrane once in a year, so maybe Calry would prefer to be facing them maybe in a final and one-off game when the pressure is really off them, in the sense that they'll have nothing to lose. But just knowing David Cummins, I mean, former county minor manager, I just think that, you know, he'll expect his guys to rise to this challenge this afternoon. I think he feels that his players, you know, they can go, you know, and really compete for this championship this year. It's a different type of championship, different feeling. They have bar Aidan Devaney. I think they have all their players available. Aidan is obviously, you know, certainly a loss for them in goals, an experienced inter-county goalkeeper. So, you know, it's going to be very interesting. I mean, you look at some of the matchups. I mean, we have Kenny Gavigan and Stephen Henry in midfield up against Adrian Cummins and Damien O'Boyle. So 4 big players in around the middle. I know David, I mean, obviously nepotism and all that he feels that Adrian, his son, is a player that can step up to the next level. And, you know, and this is, you know, where the likes of Adrian will have to, you know, show that, you know, he can compete with the Tourlestranes of this world. So look, at very interesting tussle around the middle. I mean, Brian Cox, an excellent underage player. Conor Griffin was really having a great season for Sligo before he injured his thumb, I think, in early in the league games. He was really back to his best form. Also, Darragh Cummins, probably one of the best games I've seen him play at inter-county level was the last game that Sligo played against Wexford down in Wexford Park. You know, a very difficult place to get wins historically has shown, and Darragh was very, very good in that game. So, you know, Calry have quality players here and they'll be up for this challenge, so really looking forward to it.
Yep, let me run you through the teams very quickly. Calry St Joseph's lining out with Brian McGoffin in goal, Danny Cohn, Conor McGoffin and Brian Shannon in a full back line, with Johnny McGoldrick, Brian Cox and Brian Callahan in a youthful half back line. Adrian Cummins and Damien O'Boyle, as Tommy mentioned, in the middle of the park. Ronan Cox, Darragh Cummins and Kieran Stenson across the 40. Aaron Flynn, Conor Griffin and Owen Doherty are the full forward line, as we just make our way out towards the pitch here so we can keep an eye on the team setting up. Tourlestrane then just before we get underway. Alan Bro starts in goal. It's Noel Gahan, John Francis Carr and Barry Walsh in their full back line. Oisin Kennedy, Adrian McIntyre and Keane Surlis will form their half back line, with Stephen Henry and Kenny Gavigan holding fort in the middle of the park. Gary Gahan, Johnny Kelly and Rian Kennedy will provide a lot of pace in that half forward line, with James Leonard, Conan Marin and Liam Gahan down to start in the full forward line. I guess one thing that stands out to me there for Tourlestrane is the absence of Carl Henry. Tommy, I'm not sure if Carl has picked up a bit of a knock possibly, and we might get a bit of clarification from that later on.
Yeah, well, certainly, I mean, Carl would normally be a regular starter. I mean, one of the top Tourlestrane players over the last number of years, so we have to assume they're either resting him, that he is a niggle, or he's just unavailable for today's game, Darragh. But as the referee throws in the ball.
Yeah, the ball is up and underway. Damien O'Boyle, won that ball, but Stephen Henry was deemed to have been fouled in his attempts to get it, and it's an early ball inside, and Tourlestrane onto a quick attack, and Liam Gahan in possession. A big player he will be today as he feeds that off to Johnny Kelly. Back out it goes once again, as Tourlestrane will play the patient game and just work things along that 40 there, with Gahan again taking it on. Adrian Cummins with him for company has gone, takes that one on off the outside the left foot, and Adrian Cummins actually did well.
Taking these shots from outside a scoring range, very unlike Tourlestrane, like not to work the ball into a better scoring position.
Give it a rest, will ya?
Stages of this contest, sets Calry in their first attack of the afternoon, but that's been turned over once again and scooped up in the middle of the park by James Leonard. As predicted, James hasn't lined out in an orthodox corner forward role, but will drift around the middle. As coming through the middle now is Keane Surlis for Tourlestrane. Looks to take on Brian Shannon, does take him on. Brilliant tackle back there from Brian Cox to turn over possession, and well, in a game that's now so dominated by turnovers, Calry doing well there. Nearly lost it as I was saying that, but they have worked it out now with Damien O'Boyle, who will send it down this left hand side. A late change into the Calry side there sees Conal Stenson coming in to the team in place of Ronan Cox, as Darragh Cummins comes out with possession and sends it over to that right hand side to Brian Cox to take it up for Calry St. Joseph's on the right. He's a key player for Calry St. Joseph's. Brian Cox has really emerged over the last year or two, and made that number 6 jersey his own as he feeds that one off as far as Johnny McGoldrick. A bit of patience now required from Calry St. Joseph's as Aaron Flynn sends that ball back in towards Cox once more. Brian Cox looking for options. Damien O'Boyle was the obvious one outside. It gives it back to him as well, and still Brian Cox. So many times we mentioned him already. This is Conor Griffin. Expect to mention him a lot today as well, with a heavily bandaged right boot, a right knee. Gets a right boot on that and puts it over the bar. And that's the opening score of the game. Comes the way of Calry St. Joseph's. 2.5 minutes on the clock. Well worked score, Tommy.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic score, Darragh. There, you know, Calry rotated the ball very well. You could see them. They knew exactly what they're doing. They had the ball over on the sideline here. They worked it over to the right side, worked it back into the centre, broke the line there with Damien Boyle, slipped it to Conor Griffin. But absolute brilliant score over his shoulder as Tourlestrane are back in possession.
Yeah, Conan Marin way down on that left-hand side, pushed over ultimately by Conor McGovern, and will have a free. Well over almost on that sideline. However, for Tourlestrane, hardly one you're going to take on this afternoon, although they certainly have players capable of doing it. Calry St. Joseph's a little fillip for that, getting the opening score of the game, but rather needless free given away over on that left hand side. Conan Marin, one of the younger recruits into this Tourlestrane team, a player that hasn't tasted too much defeat since he's come into the senior team, Tommy.
No, he's certainly has never lost a game. 100% record. Good effort, but it's gone to the left and wide.
Well, he did take it on. He certainly did. Didn't heed my advice. I'm not saying he should have, but it did go out to the left and wide, and an opportunity for Calry St. Joseph's just to get back on at the front foot here with Brian McGovern to take this out. You mentioned the absence of county goalkeeper Aidan Devaney for Calry. Brian McGovern did play at all ages as a goalkeeper coming up. They're lucky, I guess, that they have that option to come in.
No, absolutely. Very accomplished goalkeeper. Very good hanging kick out. I mean, a lot of midfielders, Damien O'Boyle has done very well with that, but a lot of midfielders love that hanging ball.
Superb kick out fielded by Damien O'Boyle, did well to catch it a second attempt, didn't call the mark, play went on, and Johnny McGoldrick gets it forward now as far as Adrian Cummins, back to his older brother Darragh, who takes it from right to left across that 40, being tracked there but gets the ball off as far as Connell Stenson. Once again, it's not Connell Stenson, in fact it's Kieran Stenson that has it, and he gets it back out as far as Damien O'Boyle. It's a hopeful ball maybe inside, we'll get the mark unless we get the goal from Conor Griffin. Oh, it's a brilliant finish from Conor Griffin. Something tells me he might have been going for the goal there. He'll take the point, he'll be happy with that. He had the option of the attacking mark, I think, but he took the score nonetheless, and surely he had a goal on his mind there, Tommy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. When he turned, he was only going for under the crossbar there, Darragh. I mean, there's no doubt about it, but I mean, a real positive, there's no doubt, a real positive for a real positive there from Calry. I thought Adrian McIntyre was laid out as Tourlestrane on the attack again.
Johnny Kelly, well, he went to ground, he was deemed to have been fouled. He did manage to get the ball forward, maybe slightly fortuitous, I say that much, possibly a Calry bias here, but Johnny Kelly, once he gets going like that, the end result usually is something, isn't it? He's so hard to stop when he gets those legs pumping. Yeah,
well, I mean, there's certainly no doubt about it. I mean, Johnny Kelly, what is he, probably 26, I think, this year. You know, pound for pound as an underage player, he was probably the best underage player in the county within his age group. You know, extremely talented player. And, you know, when Tourlestrane plays well, it's usually that Johnny Kelly is playing well. But certainly a great start. I mean, David Cummins and the Calry management will be very, very pleased with their start, as you expect this one to go over the bar. But it's actually off the post
from Rian Kennedy, and that's two chances that go out begging for Tourlestrane, both from Rian, who's been brought into this team as wing forwards, and led off there for Calry St. Joseph's. They dealt with it well, in fairness. Tourlestrane weren't really switched on for the ball when it rebounded, and Calry had enough players back. This is Damien O'Boyle, flicks it over to that right hand side as far as Johnny McGoldrick once again. Good start from Johnny McGoldrick as he feeds that ball off as far as Aaron Flynn. Aaron Flynn playing deep for Calry in the almost the playmaker's role, as Adrian Cummins takes this one on and gives it back as far as Kieran Stenson. Back from Stenson to Adrian Cummins. He's ran into a bit of traffic there. If he comes out with the ball here, he'll do exceptionally well. He didn't, and he gave away the free as well, and we're going to go back for that free. The numbers of Tourlestrane players back in that attack, Tommy. One player, not just inside the Calry half, but outside their own 45.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, look, at both sides are working ferociously hard. I mean, I know David Cummins, Calry manager, is one of his vices is physicality and getting in the big hits, and we can see that Adrian McIntyre hit the ground there. Johnny Kelly hit the ground earlier on. They're certainly, you know, imposing Adrian Cummins from the throw up. You know, they're certainly imposing their physicality on the game. Calry, I mean, certainly if you're watching this game so far and wondering as a neutral which one was the county champions, in fairness, Calry have started the more impressive team, but I'm sure now Tourlestrane will get into gear very, very shortly, Darragh.
Yeah, it was 5 minutes on the clock, and it's 2 points for Calry St. Joseph's. No score as of yet for Tourlestrane, as well, the ball breaks to a Calry man once again. Johnny McGoldrick started this game quite well. Darragh Cummins playing deep, gives it off to Damien O'Boyle, who looked up quick to find Brian Cox over on this left hand side. Now Brian Cox with a bit of space to attack in front of him if he wants to. Instead he gives it into Conor Griffin just outside the 21 on the left hand side. Back to Brian Cox once more, and back inside. Good composed play here from Calry as Aaron Flynn takes it on. Man on was the shout, but he didn't hear it, but he's managed to retain possession, and through Brian Shannon gets it back to Connell Stenson, who almost got himself in a bit of bother as well. But to be fair to Calry, they haven't panicked and they've managed to work it out, as it's worked from Danny Keown across to Aaron Flynn once again. And now Darragh Cummins. Good support play from Calry St. Joseph's in this game. This is Conor McGovern bursting through the middle, wearing number 3, hopping a solo, and another solo from McGovern, another hop, and he takes it up in his right boot, and that is an absolute clinker of a score from Conor McGovern. Well, he's playing at full back today. Conan Marin has dragged him out the pitch a little bit. Might regret that for the moment, because that's a fine score from Conor.
Oh, that's as good a score as you're going to see. I mean, fantastic. I saw him playing wing back last year, and I thought he was one of the best players in the club scene last year, Darragh. They're very, very impressive coming from the half back position, came there from the full back positions, you rightly said. Just probably the way the game has developed over the years, like a full back isn't the old style full back as Tourlestrane uncharacteristically turn over another ball.
Yeah, the turnover count won't please Jerry McGowan or Raymond O'Hara so far in this contest. It's been a little bit sloppy from the south side men, to be fair, as Darragh Cummins wins a free. And if I said Johnny Kelly's was a little soft, that too looked a little soft to me, but it's a brilliant ball in. Conor Griffin battling further inside. Has he won it? He has, but only at the expense of a free out. John Francis Carr doing enough on that occasion just to thwart Conor Griffin, as Gary Gahan, first time we've really seen him in possession, uses his brother Noel, and he's caught high by Brian Callahan. It's one of those unfortunate ones. It doesn't look too pretty. Caught him around the neck. I think Noel just dipped the head and used a little bit of experience there. Maybe he could see the youngster was a little bit committed to the foul, and well, it's a little word needed in the ear of young Brian Callahan. He's been a very impressive addition to this Calry team as well this year, and that's a yellow card. I guess by the letter of the law that is a yellow card, Tony. Yeah,
potentially. I mean, look, certainly Noel knew what he was doing. He's a very experienced player. He went down there very, very cutely, and yellow card, so puts Brian Callahan under a little bit of pressure early on in the match.
It does, yeah. He is his hands full as well out there with Noel Gahan for the minute, but it's Tourlestrane now looking to try and create a little bit of momentum for themselves as that ball is pumped inside. We'll take the mark for Tourlestrane. It's Rian Kennedy that's gone on it inside. It was a decent ball into an attacking mark, and an opportunity for Tourlestrane to finally open their account. Rian Kennedy up high, and no doubt about that one. It's a good score from Rian Kennedy, and probably one he needed to after the couple of missteps in the early exchanges.
Yeah, well, certainly, I mean, as you said, a couple of uncharacteristic, I suppose, misses from Tourlestrane. They've had 2 wides, they've had 1 off the post, and that's their first or their 4th shot at goal, and they've come away with a point.
10 minutes on the clock, and it is Calry St. Joseph's that have a 3 points to 1 advantage here. Glorious weather in Markievicz Park. As the kick out from Brian McGovern is long and deep. Adrian Cummins was the target, but got caught on the wrong side of his man there and gave away the free, and now it's with, I think it's Noel Gahan over on that left hand side for Tourlestrane. Opting a policy of squad numbers this year, so don't be surprised to see all sorts of numbers popping up all over your screens from this Tourlestrane team. As Darragh Cummins gets on possession, Conor Griffin was looking for it inside. They've worked it through the hands of Brian Cox and Damien O'Boyle. Back out here towards Brian Callahan once again. Brian Cox is in fact over here with Kieran Stenson that was inside, and this is Stenson once again to try and take this one on. Conor McGovern finds himself way up the pitch again, and well, his head is up after that superb score as he controls possession here and works the ball back out as far as Brian Callahan. This is Darragh Cummins. Damien O'Boyle was trying to make the burst of energy through the middle, did so, and now feeds it off to Johnny McGoldrick, and it's a poor challenge on Johnny McGoldrick. They'll take the free here, and a good opportunity for a score, you'd imagine, for Calry St. Joseph's. Good play again, working it through the lines, giving it to the man off the shoulder. Good support play, Tommy. It's very impressive to see.
No, very impressive to see, and it's very much a pattern of the game, Darragh. There's no doubt that this is very much a tactic of Calry St. Joseph's. When they win the possession, they slow down the game. They make sure they get people into positions. They recycle. You can hear the direction amongst themselves, I suppose, in the quietness of Markievicz Park, and people are probably picking up on home on the pitch side mic. And they keep holding it until the player bursts off the challenge off the shoulder, and Darragh Cummins with this over the bar with the right foot, but the player then taking the ball at pace and to break the line, and Stephen Henry in that regard had no option but just to put in a big hit and the foul on the Calry player.
Yeah, they have that little bit of attack and pace in the half-back line with Brian Callahan, Brian Cox and Johnny McGoldrick winning the free on that occasion. Another turnover ball, although a free given against Calry there. A bit harsh on Brian Callahan that one possibly, as Noel Gahan takes it quick and feeds it inside to his younger brother Liam. Now 2 Gahans out of 3 combining once again as Noel gets that inside once more towards Johnny Kelly, who sells a couple of little steps before feeding the ball off once more, and it's Conan Maron that will take that one on, and that one is out to the left and wide from Conan Maron. First opportunity really he's had a sight of these goals, and he'll be a little bit disappointed with that one. It's glorious weather, as I say, Tommy. It's a day that's probably going to need the water breaks though.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, very warm and very dead heat out there in Markievicz Park, but certainly that's not bothering Calry St. Joseph at the moment. You're certainly looking the more composed side at this early stages, but certainly I'm looking at Eamon O'Hara and Jerry McGowan there on the sideline. There's certainly no panic. They've been in this position before. They have a lot of faith in their system and faith in what they do. So look at, there's certainly no panic at this early stages.
Aaron Flynn back helping out there and uses Brian Cox, and Conor McGovern will take it out now for Calry St. Joseph's. Ball off to Johnny McGoldrick once again on the halfway line for Calry. Adrian Cummins, quick hand passing as well. Danny Keown feeds it out to the right hand side to Kieran Stenson, and over on that stand side of a beautifully presented Markievicz Park for this afternoon's game, they managed to work that ball and recycle it back through the centre, and Darragh Cummins takes it on. Cummins back to Flynn, and now Brian Shannon taking responsibility and What's good to see it from them as well, Tommy, is that the Calry players are happy to get on the ball as Darragh Cummins comes through the middle now and feeds it off to Johnny McGoldrick. That little trick working once more. It wasn't the best of balls back out, but Cummins feeds it to Conor Griffin. That's a fine score from Conor Griffin. Worked out perfectly in the end because Darragh Cummins had the wherewithal just to pop that pass out to Conor Griffin. The run was good, the movement was good, the score was good.
No, absolutely. I mean, once again, we saw Calry St. Joseph's recycling the ball, having a lot of patience, Darragh, you know, just waiting for that runner. Darragh Cummins was that player, came on the burst. He was actually impeded after he laid off the ball, looking for the 1-2. He was impeded, but at the same time, didn't go complaining to the referee, got back into the play again, won the ball, shipped it to Conor Griffin, and Conor Griffin has had a really blistering start. I'd said there in the preview how well he was doing for Sligo before he picked up an injury, but has really picked up where he left off.
As the line ball over on that right hand side is taken by Calry St. Joseph's, and Brian Cox once again takes them forward. Brian Cox with the ball inside looking for Conor Griffin once again. Griffin out in front of himself, left foot this time from Conor Griffin. He's putting on a bit of a show here this afternoon. Conor Griffin, the Calry St. Joseph's captain, has got his 4th point of the day. This one off his left boot, and well, when the ball goes into him, Tommy, he's causing all sorts of damage inside.
Absolutely. John Francis Carr thinks it might be a switch. I think Noel Gahan now is the player that is picking up Conor Griffin. It was John Francis Carr. So John Francis Carr, another county panellist and player, under a lot of pressure there from Conor Griffin.
Tourlestrane under huge pressure on their own kick out, Tommy. We'll come back to that in just a second. They have managed to turn this one over, but only after losing the ball initially. Calry really pushing up on that Tourlestrane kick out, and it's reaping dividends as Conan Marin now comes over to the left hand side to take a ball on for Tourlestrane and feed it back once again as far as Kenny Gavigan. Gavigan will come inside to Stephen Henry, and just holding that line there, he gives it instead to Liam Gahan to take forward. Gahan flicks it back inside, and under a little bit of pressure there is James Leonard, but they've managed to work it out towards Johnny Kelly on this right hand side. Left footed pass from Kelly, was looking for Marin. Oh, he wanted the mark inside. He might have been fouled before that in any case. I think he was. The referee's whistle has gone, I think, before there was ever even a question of a mark, and it's going to be an opportunity for Marin, and you can tell by his body language he wanted that ball himself, try and get himself into this game. He taps that one over the bar as well, and well, Conan Marin adds his name to the score sheet. But just on that kick out there from Tourlestrane, Calry really fronting them up on it, Tommy.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, as I mentioned, Calry pride themselves in the physicality they bring to games. They're really pushing up hard. They're imposing themselves really much on this game, looking very, very comfortable. You know, you mentioned before the game, you know, maybe it's a nothing to lose game for Calry, but they're testing themselves on. They know this is the level. You know, if they're going to you know, be real contenders, this is the level that they have to achieve, and certainly look at the better team at the moment. You can see points to two. Scoreboard, Conor Griffin playing very, very well. A lot of things centered around Griffin, trying to get the ball in. He's won a lot of duels in the air. Very, very good left and right foot. Darragh Cummins is another leader out there, doing very, very well, getting on the ball, working ferociously hard. Both teams playing quite defensively at times. I mean, there's times Tourlestrane and every single player, all 15 players behind the actual ball, but still Calry were able to, you know, they took their time, they recycled the ball, they waited for the player hard coming off the shoulder, breaking the line. And when you do that, Darragh, players have to make a decision. It's a bit like in one of them examples that Stephen Henry, when the player was going through, do you let him go through or do you foul him? In that case, he chose to foul him, and Calry got the point from it. But really very impressive from Calry St. Joseph's in this early stage. I mean, Tourlestrane, I feel, just, you know, they look very lackluster, very unlike Tourlestrane. You know, maybe, you know, they're a team on the road a long time as well, and it's hard to keep getting up for maybe these games that they're expected to win all the time. But certainly I can hear Eamon out in the middle of them now, and while he's not having a go, he's certainly giving them very strong direction there, what he expects and what he wants from his players. But, you know, really entertaining game so far, Darragh.
Yeah, the quality is very, very good. Some great scores from both teams in this contest so far. Conor Griffin in particular has managed 4 points from play, 3 from his right foot and 1 from his left, and he's been a real thorn in Tourlestrane's side. And well, I guess the only thing that stands out for me is that I think I've mentioned every Calry player a couple of times. They are getting on the ball, they're moving it through their hands, they're offering the support, and they seem confident enough to take it on, Tommy.
No, I mean, a lot of leadership there from Calry. I mean, there's absolutely no question about that. I mean, they've been absolutely superb. Every player looking to get on that ball, as you're saying, Darragh, you know, and take on that responsibility. Nobody afraid of it either, you know. Them, you know, taking on Tourlestrane and the challenge, you know, certainly they're not backing down to anything and are looking very, very impressive and very, very entertaining. And I can't remember the last time Sligo football, and certainly in Championship football in Sligo, that Tourlestrane are 4 points down in the match. So it'll be really interesting to see how they respond to it.
Yeah, challenge being put down to Tourlestrane this afternoon. Calry St. Joseph's realistically will have one foot in the semi-finals with a win here this afternoon. There is a couple of permutations that could still make it a three-way tie, but they'd be in some position if they were to manage a victory here, Tommy.
No, absolutely. And I mean, look, a long way to go. I suppose we're in probably the second half of the first half here, and there's certainly an awful lot to play for. But certainly from a Calry point of view, they'll be very, very pleased with their start.
Brian McGovern with the kick out again. Damien Boyle looks like he's the target. Kenny Gavin jumps with him as well, and foul by Gavigan on the back of O'Boyle there, and it's a free for Calry. Kieran Stenson takes it quickly and gives it off as far as Aaron Flynn. Through the middle for Calry once again as Darragh Cummins just orchestrates things there for Calry. He's been doing that since the start of the game. Darragh Cummins using all his experience, albeit still quite a young man. He's a lot of football played, and he's a key player out there at the minute for Calry. As Aaron Flynn, Brian Shannon and now Brian Callahan will take them forward. Again, the option is the man coming from behind, and Conor McGovern will, with the help of Conor Stenson, feed it back. So it's Calry in possession. Damien O'Boyle, right hand side, 6 points to 2 the score in Markievicz Park, 16 minutes on the clock, and Johnny McGoldrick now will take it on. McGovern, 1 point to his name already in this afternoon's tie, and well, we had our fullback a minute ago. There's our cornerbacks up getting on possession. So much space, literally not a Tourlestrane man in the Calry half, but expect that to change now very quickly, because they've turned that ball over to Edo McIntyre, and over on that left hand side Tourlestrane can attack as Johnny Kelly is the option. Johnny will take this one on if he gets to it. He does get it. He's left Brian McGovern for dead, or Conor McGovern, excuse me, as Johnny Kelly comes in goal. In on goal. What a save from Brian McGovern. Well, he dug his brother out of a hole there, I think, Tommy, with that save. Superb reaction from Brian McGovern. Good height probably from Johnny Kelly, but once he had Conor McGovern beaten for pace over on the left hand side, it looked like the inevitable was coming. Brian McGovern came out, spread himself, made himself big, made the save, and a 45 results. Goal chance though, no question.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, if I was watching Johnny Kelly off the ball when that ball was turned over with McIntyre, the run that Johnny Kelly made for deep, we were talking about his quality earlier on, but he ran from in front of us here on the dugout side, right over to that far side, turned Brian McGovern. One thing on mind was going straight at goals, and fantastic save.
It's Rian Kennedy that takes the 45. It's out to the right and it's wide from Rian Kennedy. He has got one from an attacking mark. He won himself, but that's 0 from 3 from balls on the ground from Rian Kennedy this afternoon, and might be something Tourlestrane will have a look at. Conan Marin well able to hit from distance as well. He's got one as well from a short free as Brian McGovern gives a kick out short to Brian Shannon. Bit of risky play from Calry St. Joseph's, might work out for them if Brian Cox can offer a bit of support play here, and he can. This is Brian Shannon. And now Aaron Flynn inside his own 45. Again, Calry just showing composure, not panicking in possession. And they always seem to have that man just offering to take it off the player in possession, as Brian Cox, they work it from left all the way to right, and Kieran Stenson, and back they come to the left hand side. Instead Adrian Cummins turns inside, and now they'll use Stenson, and in a bit of space is Conor Stenson, and he could be through one-on-one here. He might take the point instead, probably the right decision. He had John Francis Carrick was bearing down on him, and he took the score. Again, the patience from that kick out up there, Tommy, to stay composed and work it to the other end and get the score.
Absolutely. I mean, Darragh, you said it, from that kick out there from Brian McGovern. They retained the ball, got it out, it was just outside the 21 metre line. They recycled it, kept calm. Every player supporting the player in possession, absolutely brilliant. All the right options been taken, and an absolute wonderful team score, Darragh, there.
Gary gone to Johnny Kelly. Again, Conor McGovern in a wee bit of pressure. Under a wee bit of pressure, Johnny Kelly leaves him. Goal on here, possibly. It's flicked off. Oh, Damien O'Boyle came back and managed just to do enough to stop John Francis Carr. How he ended up in the most advanced position for Tourlestrane, I'm not too sure, but as he went to take it, Damien O'Boyle came back. I think it came off him more than anything and out for the 45, but credit Damien O'Boyle, because he made 50-60 yards there to get back and make that interception.
Well, I think that's just an endorsement and testament to the work rate of Calry St. Joseph's, Darragh. I mean, it's been absolute phenomenal. Like, I would have put everything on that ball was going to end up on the back of the net, and however However, Damien O'Boyle got back, and that ball, it looks like it's gone off the post again.
From Rian Kennedy. This one, time from the short 45, and again, Calry, little things just going in their favour in this opening half. Still a long way to go, but they do lead by 7 points to 2 in what is a cracking Homeland Senior Football Championship round 3 encounter in Markievicz Park. Brian Cox, he's been one of the stars this opening half. This is Brian Callahan, under a wee bit of pressure, slipped, lost his feet at exactly the wrong time, and Adrian Cummins ended up giving away the foul on Gary Gaughan. I think that's going to be a yellow card as well for Adrian Cummins, possibly a little bit more deserved than Brian Callahan's one, but he had to intervene because they were under a little bit of pressure all of a sudden.
Yeah, no, certainly he wanted to impose his physicality. I mean, there's no doubt about that. And you know, a very uncharacteristic turnover from Calry. St. Joseph's player just slipped when he was going forward, came back, and it was certainly a turnover, and Tourlestrane now in possession.
They have created 2 goal chances, Tourlestrane, in the last 5 minutes, just letting everyone know that they're still very much the county champions and still very much in this contest as they work the ball over the left hand side now with Liam Gaughan. He goes to ground. Was he fouled? He was, says the referee, and the free is awarded. I think it was Brian Shannon, the man that got the challenge in, as he bounced off him, and well, the player in possession inevitably is going to win that decision, and an opportunity. They're going to stick with Rian Kennedy, it looks like, on these frees, Tommy.
Yeah, I thought at one stage there that Conan Marin was going to take it, Darragh, but it's not. It's Rian Kennedy. He has one score. I mean, look at, certainly, you know, has missed a few, very uncharacteristic of him, but I mean, you'd be expecting that this would be his range.
This might just turn things around for him. He has got 1 of his 5 attempts so far at the post. 2 of them have come off the post, in fairness to him. This one looks a lot better from Rian Kennedy, and that should certainly do his confidence the world of good. A good score from Tourlestrane.
Yeah, certainly it hit the post that time, but fortunately for Tourlestrane, it hit the post and in between the posts, Darragh. So good score from Tourlestrane, 7 points to 3.
So Brian McGovern just setting things down. I did wonder just that work rate, the energy sapping nature of the day as well. If Calry can maintain this, Tommy, it will be an ask.
Yeah, no, certainly. I mean, it's a very dead heat out there, Darren. It's very difficult. Great and great catch by Darragh Cummins, and they're on the attack.
Here go Calry with Damien O'Boyle. Over to the right hand side it goes as Kieran Stenson gets in possession and feeds that ball inside. It's turned over, however, by Tourlestrane back there, and well, it'll be Adrian McIntyre and Stephen Henry that'll work it over and just slowing things down slightly. Gary Gaughan now certainly not a player that plays at any sort of slow speed, so he'll take this one on. Adrian Cummins just shadowing him over on this right hand side and forcing him back inside. This is Johnny Kelly. He's been a live wire in the last 10 minutes. Johnny Kelly, he's really come to life. Might have overcarried that one, has got away with it, it seems, and here he goes again. Johnny Kelly is through once again. Oh, and there's a goal for Tourlestrane. It has been coming, and it's finished to the net inside, I think possibly by Liam Gaughan. It's actually James Leonard that's got the final touch inside. It was James Leonard, you're right, Tommy, just correcting me there. James Leonard with the fist from close range, couldn't really miss, but it was Johnny Kelly that did all the hard work, and well, that's 3 goal chances, and one name has been prominent in all 3. Johnny Kelly really coming into this game, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, certainly Calry in possession of the ball there, and it was a bad pass into Darragh Cummins, and Tourlestrane, in fairness, you know, recycled the ball very, very well, transitioned it from back to front, and Johnny Kelly, as we said, that's the 3rd attempt. There was a number of opportunities. Just Calry St. Joseph's routine was making no mistakes. All of a sudden they're starting to make a couple of mistakes. Yeah,
that could be that little bit of tiredness from their high energy endeavours in the early stages creeping up on them. This is Aaron Finn. He's covered a lot of ground already as he flicks that ball out as far as Brian Callahan. Well, for all their good work, Calry now find their lead just to 1 point. 7 points for Calry St. Joseph's, 1 goal and 3 for Tourlestrane. And now it's with Conal Stenson who's working in as far as Danny Keown. Keown flicks it over to Stenson again, who continues the line and works it with Brian Shannon out to the right hand side to Brian Cox once again. And well, this is a bit more typical from what we've seen from Calry. A little bit more patient, and again using the run that's coming off. Conor McGovern had Brian Callahan in space, takes it on himself. A little bit congested in the middle as Adrian Cummins now uses Brian Callahan on this left hand side. Little 1-2 on here possibly. Instead Kieran Stenson comes out as far as Damien O'Boyle on the 45, and Calry not really just making any headway at the minute. Conor Griffin has drifted out the field as well, I can see. Maybe he's getting a little bit frustrated with the ball going inside. He does have one of the tightest man markers in Sligo now on him, and Noel Gaughan, and well, he's trying to force his way into this game. He's already got 4 points, Conor Griffin, but he wants the ball at every occasion. This is Damien O'Boyle. 20-30 passes from Calry St. Joseph's in a row as they retain possession without really making any yardage. This is Danny Keown, 3 men around him, under a little bit of pressure now. Somehow he wiggled out of that. That's a fantastic score from Danny Keown, and one, Tommy, I think it's fair to say he'd no right to get.
No, absolutely brilliant. How he shimmied out of the a tackle there with 3 players around him. Absolutely brilliant, Darragh. But once again, it just shows the belief that Calry have in what they're doing. The composure that they're having. They believe in the system that they're actually playing. Recycling the ball very, very well, and then they pick up the pace when they need to, as they just are doing there at the moment.
Here's Conor Griffin inside. He won't want to mark either. He'll take this one on. Still Conor Griffin looking for the point, and that one's over the bar. And again, it came from a Tourlestrane kick out. Conor McGovern win it in the middle of the park. Calry really pushing up and putting pressure on that kick out.
As I was saying there, Darragh, I mean, certainly they know when to inject the pace and when not to, and certainly, textbook football. But what I'm finding from the Calry players, they're playing with real confidence, Darragh. Confidence in, I suppose, the tactics that have been laid out for them, and just huge composure and belief in what they're doing.
Now, can Adam Bro do get a better return from this one? Stephen Henry is the target. He was pushed there by Adrian Cummins, and that will be a free for Tourlestrane right on the middle of the park. It's over to the left hand side, and a low ball inside has Tourlestrane with Conan Marin on the left hand side to take this one on. That one is out to the right and wide. Difficult area to take it on from Conan Marin. He will do that though when he gets the ball. His first option is always to try and take the shot on, no matter where he is in the pitch, Tommy.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and it was a good effort there, Darragh. But it went out wide on the right hand side. But I mean, to be fair to Calry, they're forcing Tourlestrane to take on them efforts. I suppose Johnny Kelly's the one exception. He's the one player that when he injected that pace and directness there at Calry, he caused real problems. But I mean, certainly Calry responded really well, to the Tourlestrane goal.
Yeah, they have that big score from him. Danny Keown really helping things as Kenny Gavin just lost his footing at the wrong time there. Stephen Henry now for Tourlestrane out to this right hand side. Gary Gahan in the wing forward position, feeds it off to James Leonard, the goal scorer. Tourlestrane 2 points behind, but with possession. Flicked out again towards Rian Kennedy on the 45. He'll give it off to Liam Gahan. Haven't seen a huge amount from Liam so far, but he'll take this one on with his left foot, and that's a way to mark your arrival in the game from Liam Gahan. You know what he's capable of, and he showed it there.
No, absolutely. I mean, look at as you mentioned, we've seen very little of Liam Gahan so far, but he knew exactly what he was going to do when he got on that ball. He just looked up. You knew the shot was on, and you knew the second he was putting his boot to it, Darragh was going to go over the bar. So real good response again from Tourlestrane. Very entertaining game. 9 points to 7.
9 points to 7 indeed. I just correct myself on that. They were 3 down Tourlestrane before that score, after of course Conor Griffin got his 5th of the afternoon. But a 2-point advantage for Calry St. Joseph's approaching half time. As the ball breaks towards Brian Cox, clever from Brian Cox, just fisted it on the bounce over to Brian Callahan. He's under a little bit of pressure here though, Callahan. Oh, he's done well. He's got it out to Aaron Flynn, who was offering support, and just when you think that the Calry player might be under a little bit of pressure, they just show that little bit of composure. It's impressive from this young team. Darragh Cummins for Calry once again looks forward as far as Paddy Wolf over on that right hand side. A late addition in place of Owen Doherty to this Calry team. Paddy Wolf at corner forward. Hasn't got too much change out of Barry Walsh yet, but well capable of taking it on if he does get a supply coming in. This is Aaron Flynn. He's playing a kind of playmaker sweeper's role there, Tommy, and he's got a lot of ball too as Adrian Cummins takes this one off. Gives it out as far as Conor Stenson. He's one to his name already. This is back towards Cummins, and now Kieran Stenson to Danny Keown. Surely he's not going to do it again. Danny Keown out to the right and wide. No, that one probably an easier one than the one he scored, to be fair, but it was still a tough one to take on. His head was up, so you won't begrudge the man for taking it. But that's their first wide, Tommy, of the afternoon.
I think it is, Darragh. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. I suppose play from Calry St. Joseph's, to consider that that's the first wide, that they've 10 shots a goal and 1 wide.
And again, they've won the kick out. Adrian Cummins, the man that gets ahead of Stephen Henry there. He didn't want the mark, so he gives it off to his brother Darragh instead. Now there's danger on for them because Conor Griffin's inside. Oh, he left it behind him. He still has it though. Griffin on the right foot. Oh, it's saved by the goalkeeper. Oh, well, between Noel Gahan and the goalkeeper. I'm not sure who got the final touch. And well, that was an opportunity from Calry again from that Tourlestrane kick out, and turned it over. Intelligent play from the two Cummins. What a ball in from Darragh Cummins, by the way.
An absolute fantastic ball in from Darragh Cummins. But what's very impressive about Calry as well, Darragh, is they're mixing it up. You know, they saw Darragh Cummins very early, saw the opportunity that there was a one-on-one situation on with Conor Griffin inside, and in fairness, fantastic ball, and very unlike Conor, he just dropped it at the wrong time. He still retained the ball and turned and shriveled, and was sure it was going to end up over in the back of the net, but it looks like that's gone out to the right and wide. But a real opportunity there to cancel out the Tourlestrane goal, Darragh.
Yeah, real opportunity. You'd hope for Calry's sake that they won't regret that one, because they've been playing so particularly well in this opening half. Still a long way to go, and loads of time for Tourlestrane to reduce this deficit further. It's 9 points for Calry St. Joseph's. It's 1-4 for Tourlestrane. There's 2 points between the teams as we enter the final few seconds of the opening half, and indeed right on cue there goes the half-time whistle of Tommy, what has been in Markievicz Park in beautiful conditions, an absolute cracker of a championship match.
Oh no, a real brilliant game. I mean, as I said before the game, they're really looking forward to this match. I mean, as I say, Calry St. Joseph's, and I think we can see by the performance, it probably endorses what I was saying. You know, they've real ambition this year. You know, they expect to be really in the shake-up, in the knockout stages of this competition, and I think, you know, they've shown, you know, that they've arrived there today with an absolute outstanding, you know, first half performance. It's probably the best half any team has probably played against Tourlestrane in Sligo Championship football for a long number of years, and I think, you know, I just really impressed with, I suppose, the composure that they've been showing on the ball. You know, the recycling, you know, not panic, real belief in what they're doing. You know, that's what I'm finding. Just, you know, they know what they're doing. There's real belief in it. But I suppose the work rate of all their players and the support play, there's always a Calry player looking to get on the ball. You know, they know when to slow it down. They know when then to inject that little bit of pace, and then they know when to put that ball in over the top to Conor Griffin, who's, you know, with 5 points from play, absolutely outstanding half of football. And this is a real test now for Tourlestrane. You know, there's no doubt Johnny Kelly was the one player that Tourlestrane is probably the only player playing to form. Like when he injected that pace on 3 occasions, he just absolutely burned the Calry rear guard, and possibly should have had more than one of the goals. And but you really looking forward to the second half if the first half is anything to go by, Darragh.
I guess that's the only positive. There was disappointment in conceding a goal, Calry, because it undermined some of their first half efforts, but the flip side of that is it could have been worse. There could have been 2 more goals on top of that.
No, absolutely. But the one thing from Calry point of view is you'd have to look at how they responded, Darragh. Like, you know, when you know, a lot of teams, it's like football, they know they'd work so hard for 20-25 minutes, and you know that they were the better team, and then all of a sudden, you know, the county champions, a team that hasn't been beaten in championship football in 5 years, you know, gets that goal, and you know, you'd expect that heads, you know, would go down, but heads didn't go down. I mean, they upped the ante again and knocked over another 3 or 4 points after that, and you know, probably finished a stronger side, and certainly with the last play of the first half, there should have been a goal. So I mean, look at all the play for. I mean, Calry's going to take an awful lot of confidence. You know, win, lose or draw this game, they're going to take an awful lot of confidence about their own ability and what they've done there in the first half.
Yeah, absolutely. 1 goal and 4 for Tourlestrane, the county champions. 9 points for Calry St. Joseph's at the break. It's been a rip-roaring first half. We hope for more of the same in the second half. We'll have full coverage here again of this Homeland Senior Football Championship round 3, a tie. And once again, just a reminder of that scoreline at the break. Calry St. Joseph's 9 points and Tourlestrane 1 goal and 4. welcome back to Markievicz Park, where it's got a little bit cloudier than it was earlier on. That might actually help the players because it's taking some of the heat out of the afternoon. But well, we're just hoping for the same degree of quality we got in that opening half as the game is up and underway. Rory Dillon throwing the ball in, Damien O'Boyle winning it, and Calry St. Joseph's with a 2-point advantage, leading by 9 points to 1 goal and 4, and in possession in the early stages of this second half. Darragh Cummins, left hand side, ball in towards Aaron Flynn, fist pass forward towards Conor Griffin, 5 points to his name, all from play this afternoon from Conor Griffin. Could have had a goal towards the end of that opening half as well, that really would have given Tourlestrane something to think about, but as it stands, it's Danny Keown that will take on possession. This is Conor McGovern. Again, Tourlestrane sweeping everyone back, but it's actually playing into Calry's hands, if anything, as Johnny McGoldrick helps out Conor McGovern there, and this is Brian Cox. A couple of options for him. Again, Aaron Flynn is a man that is just covered. Be interesting to see his match tracker this afternoon. He's covered so much ground as Johnny McGoldrick goes forward on that left hand side. Ball back towards Brian Cox once again. And Brian Cox with the ball in towards Conor Griffin. He's going to take the mark on this occasion. A whistle goes from the referee, and the sensible decision from Conor Griffin. He's been immaculate, bar that one ball he dropped, I guess, just before the break.
Yeah, I don't think actually it was outside the 45, the pass in, Darragh, yeah. And I see Eamon O'Hara questioning Barry Judge here, who's the linesman on our side. But high up in the air, it's not gonna go over the bar.
No, maybe just a serve there, although Adrian Cummins did try to keep it in, couldn't quite do so, and it's wide, and a third wide of the afternoon for Calry St. Joseph's. The first of this second half. Right start to the second half, however, from the North Sligo team. No changes on either side at the break, as far as we've been made aware of as of yet. Anyway, as Adam Bro, for the first time this afternoon, opts to go short from the kick out, and it might be a good policy because they've retained possession. Inside it goes towards Barry Walsh. Now over on this left hand side, Johnny Kelly will try and feed a left foot ball in towards Conan Maron to show a clean pair of hands to get onto that. And now another goal opportunity has emerged. It's Keane Surlis, who just got caught in two minds. Maybe he's still going. Keane Surlis, he's been drowned out and eventually over carried the ball, and well, bullet dodged from Calry St. Joseph's as Brian Callahan takes it out for them. And little things like that going their way at a couple of stages in this contest, just frustrating Tourlestrane. You could see a little bit of frustration in the players there, Tommy, because that was a good opportunity they carved open.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when Tourlestrane attack like that, you expect them to finish the move, but in fairness to Calry St. Joseph, the work rate of the players to get back and keep the pressure on, even if they're not getting back, they can hear them, you know, tracking them and keeping the pressure on. And very impressive from Calry again. A real opportunity for Tourlestrane to edge one ahead, but Calry back in the attack with Brian Cox. Yeah,
Brian Cox over that left hand side looking to take on Noel Gahan. Flicks the ball up towards Conor Griffin once again. Griffin, a couple of turns there, but he's given the benefit of the doubt from Rory Dillon in terms of the steps as the ball is worked out as far as Aaron Flynn once more. Aaron Flynn over towards Brian Shannon. Johnny McGoldrick is that man running through, met by a big challenge from Stephen Henry, and Stephen Henry a little bit bemused as to how that free was given. It was a right collision from the two of them. He may have a little bit of a case there, Tommy.
Well, I'm sure Stephen Henry, when he's going around the county coaching, you know, is telling defenders, make yourself big and stand there. He never moved his body or anything else, and Johnny McGoldrick ran into him. So, you know, maybe a little bit fortunate free for Calry with Darragh Cummins. You know, it doesn't look like he's going to go for it, but maybe.
Looking for options, it seemed. I think Conor Griffin might be that option. He actually did go for it and caught it not too sweetly out to the right hand side from Darragh Cummins. 4 wides now for Calry St. Joseph's, who didn't hit their first wide until the 25th minute of this contest, but they started to creep up that statistic. 4 minutes gone of the second period as Tourlestrane worked that short kick out again. Something has changed in terms of the kick out tactics anyway, but not a huge return out of that one because it's the ball across their own goal that's gone out in the sideline, and Damien O'Boyle takes it quick to Conor Griffin, who's spent the opening minutes of this second half deep in that left hand corner. He tried a ambitious one out to Brian Cox, and it's been turned over by Tourlestrane, and they have possession now, and they've a free as well, and there'll just be a little bit of a break there for, I think it was Kenny Gavigan that got a little bit of a bang to the head, and he'll get a moment's treatment.
Yeah, once again, there, Darragh, I mean, Calry imposing their physicality, making sure, they're getting in, Brian Cox, it looked like it was his ball. In fairness, the Tourlestrane player broke through, but at the same time, the physicality went in and just letting them know there must be steps.
There's a lot of steps there for Oisín Kennedy, but he might have got away with that one. They've definitely got the decision as well, because the free has been given, and a few questions being asked by Darragh Cummins there, and I have to admit I can understand them, Tommy. Oisín Kennedy took it on at pace, but did look like he had taken a little bit too much out.
Yeah, it looked like he'd overcarried it, but yeah, certainly maybe one or two decisions have gone Calry's way, and now Conal Marin is taking it from the left instead of Rian Kennedy.
So Conal Marin onto the frees. He's got one in this game so far, and that one is up high and out to the right and wide from Conal Marin. And no more than what we've said about a couple of Tourlestrane players this afternoon, just a little bit uncharacteristic from them, Tommy.
Yeah, no, very much so. I mean, normally, they're very clinical in what they do, but certainly Calry have asked a lot of questions of them there today. Calry has been very impressive. Today they're rotating. They're very cute as well. They're rotating at times. I see Darragh Cummins slips into full forward and lets Conor Griffin out, and sometimes it's Adrian Cummins that drifts in, and they're changing things around all the time, and they know what they're doing, Darragh. That's the one thing that I've noticed. Everyone knows the job that they're out there to do.
Kick out well worked from Calry, as Brian Shannon almost fouled the ball but stopped himself just before he did so, but nonetheless it's been turned over. As Conal Marin that has it now on this left hand side. Little flick pass forward as far as Gary Gaughan in towards Noel Gaughan, and now they have Liam Gaughan, all three involved, as that ball is cleared by Brian Callahan. Just got a foot. I think Liam Gaughan just took his eye off it at the wrong moment. Wasn't quite sure where the pass had gone to. Brian Shannon is caught high, and that will be a free out. Johnny Kelly with the challenge, as Simon O'Hara is quick to get some instructions on to his team. Tourlestrane shooting himself in the foot a little bit there on that occasion, as Aaron Flynn takes Calry St. Joseph's out, and Darragh Cummins, as always, is an option for his teammates. He has Brian Shannon off him if he needs it. Instead he goes forward to Brian Cox. Great positivity from Darragh Cummins, because he's continued his run. He's still going, Darragh Cummins. He's past the 45 now, flicks the ball inside. Didn't really have the option from Paddy Wolf, but he wanted. He's asking a question of the referee there as to
I think he was sure he was playing on an advantage, and the advantage didn't come. And really great burst from Darragh. He seems to be struggling a little bit afterwards.
Yeah, he did make a lot of ground there, though, as Conor McGovern just does enough to get himself between the ball and Liam Gaughan. And again, Calry composed even when it's that close to their own goal, Tommy. No panic, working it out through the hands, and Danny Keown and Brian Shannon, the two cornerbacks, working it to Kieran Stenson, and Keown goes again. Calry not content just to give the ball off. They're offering the option again straight away, Tommy.
With the work rate of all the players and providing them options, Darragh, has been absolutely unbelievable. I mean, there's players running from every angle, supporting the man in possession, but the main thing is the players are taking the right options on most of the situations. 7.5
minutes of the second half gone as we await the first score of this second period. Brian Cox has won a free now, wants it quick, gives it inside towards Conor Griffin. He's been held, looked like he was being held by John Francis Carr, but Barry Walsh has got back there and got on possession. What's he done with it though? Not much, except hold on to it, and well, didn't release it, to use a rugby term, and that's going to be a free and a tap over free, you'd imagine, for Calry St. Joseph's. And again, the quick free from Brian Cox, just showing that little bit of alertness, and they turned over what looked like a little bit of a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and the first looks like the first score of the second half, Darragh.
Yeah, Paddy Wolf, the man that's got it, and it's from a free from Paddy Wolf. It's his first of the afternoon, and Calry St. Joseph's extend their lead to 3 points. The first of the second half, Calry 10 points, Tourlestrane 1 goal on 4, 8.5 minutes on the clock, as Alan Bro sends that down the right hand side. Brian Cox has read this game to perfection this afternoon. He's done really well there to get that ball out as far as Brian Callahan. This is Johnny McGoldrick with Kieran Stenson now offering support. Darragh Cummins again is an option, and now Conor Griffin makes the move. Cummins into that left hand channel once more. Griffin takes it on now. John Francis Carr with him for company, but Griffin wants to take that one himself. Umpires are unsure. Eventually the call goes up. Conor Griffin goes over to ask the linesman, who's drawn the referee's attention to it.
Yeah, I think the linesman is definitely going to say it looked like a point for me here. It's hard to fully tell, but I think the linesman is going to. It is a point.
Well, credit the linesman for coming in, because it was a difficult one for the umpires. They weren't brilliantly positioned, and they were a little bit unsure putting their hands up, but they got assistance from their sideline official there, and that's how the system should operate, and a point for Calry St. Joseph's.
Yeah, I'm just going to say there looks like Pat Hart is about to enter the pitch here. Pat, a veteran of this Tourlestrane team, obviously. It looks like it's Rian Kennedy who's coming off, so just to be a little bit of repositioning. I can see Pat probably playing. He's going straight out towards the centre. So, I mean, look at once again, we're talking about Conor Griffin. I mean, he just took on John Francis Carr and just went at him and just popped it over the bar again. I mean, the 6th point of the game, Darragh. An absolutely outstanding individual performance there by Conor Griffin.
Yeah, he's really given a stellar performance this afternoon, and his side are into a 4-point advantage, 11 points to 1-7 with 10 minutes of the second half played, as Stephen Henry is awarded a free from that kick out and gives it short to Conan Marin. Marin off to Pat Hart, just on. It's actually James Leonard coming through, and it's Adrian McIntyre, I should say, coming through, but he's lost possession. Brian Cox helping him out in that regard and putting the tackle in, and they've won a free. Another good turnover there, and Brian Cox has covered some mileage today.
Well, absolutely. I mean, you just mentioned a couple of minutes ago about his performance up to this point. I mean, he's absolutely brilliant. I mean, certainly looking county standard, centre back, wing back there with his performance here this afternoon.
Taking on Stephen Henry now and winning the free. Wants to do it quick. Conor Griffin is going to have to come a long way for this one, and he couldn't quite control it. Barry Walsh couldn't quite disrupt it, and Paddy Wolf couldn't quite get on it either, and eventually Noel Gaughan gets it out as far as James Leonard, and now this ball from Leonard is aimed in high towards Gary Gaughan, who takes it, and well, he'll claim the mark inside, I'd imagine, and will get it eventually. Conor McGovern will win to ground. Wish him. It could possibly have been a free as well as a mark. I'm not quite sure which the decision was.
Well, I think it was definitely a free, Darragh. I mean, I'm not too sure. It must have been a free. I mean, it had to be a free. There's no doubt about it if the mark wasn't on. And in addition to that, I mean, the defending player has to, pull away from, if the forward, the attacking mark forward wins the mark, they're meant to back off, and then the Calry player didn't do it in that regard. Tourlestrane certainly looking, certainly not looking like themselves, Darragh. I mean, starting now as the game is drifting on, certainly looking a little bit more rattled, but there's still nothing in it. 11 points to 8, a 3-point game. I mean, certainly not, it's certainly not out of Tourlestrane's grasp yet at this stage, Darragh.
Going to make a second change here now in just a second, as Calry prepared this kick out. They lead by 11 points to 1 goal and 5. Liam Gaughan tapping that one over, so it was a free indeed, because it had been a mark. Of course, Gary would have had to take it himself, but Liam able to get on it from the free and pop it over, and that's their first score of the second half, and it's taken 12 minutes for it to come, Tommy, which tells a little bit of a tale in itself.
Yeah, no, very much so. And look at Calry are looking the more assured side here this afternoon. I mean, it's the big question now, Darragh, is can they maintain this level of performance at the end, and can they come away with a famous win?
John Francis Carr is the man that's been called ashore from Tourlestrane, which gives an indication of a tough afternoon that he has had. Martin Conor Griffin inside. Noel Gaughan has gone back on him now, and this is Noel Gaughan sweeping up in front of Griffin and gets it off to Stephen Henry. Not the best of passes from Stephen Henry, asking a bit from James Leonard, but he did well in fairness. The former championship winning team captain, this is Barry Walsh out in front to win that one for Tourlestrane, and good hands from him, works it out as far as Leonard once more. Now Conan Marin, then much deeper, only one target inside. That's Pat Hart, or it's Gary Gaughan I should say, is the lone target man in there, and he'll do plenty of movement as well. As they don't opt to take him on, instead they take on the shot, and it's a superb score from Tourlestrane, one of the better ones of the afternoon. Liam Gaughan, the man that's got it, 2 in a row for him in this second half, 3 in total from the county player. 13.5 minutes on the clock, and we're back to a 2-point game. Calry St. Joseph's 11 points, Tourlestrane 1 goal and 6.
Yeah, Calry management very disappointed there, Darragh, that they actually turned Tourlestrane over very, very well, and then they actually gave the ball back to them, and that score developed from there. So it was from a Calry turnover after initially winning the turnover.
Brian McGovern with this right-footed kick down that left-hand side, and all of a sudden Calry under a bit of pressure from their own kick-out. Ball recycled back out towards Liam Gaughan once again. He's been swallowed up in there, but credit to the youngster, he's done really, really well to retain possession. Now it's with Pat Hart, newly introduced to the game, gives it off to Johnny Kelly, wants it back as well. Instead, the target was Stephen Henry, and he ended up having to overextend for it. Kieran Stenson got onto it. I thought he had been fouled by Stephen Henry's lunge, but nonetheless, the referee, a much better advantage than we have from here, and does eventually award the free. And Aaron Flynn wants to take it quick, asking a lot of Paddy Wolf there. Barry Walsh using his experience to get out in front from him. And well, Eamon O'Hara was convinced that was a Tourlestrane ball, but I think from our vantage point he got that one wrong and the referee got it right.
I'm not sure was he convinced, but he was certainly playing for it, Darragh.
So Aaron Flynn to take it over on this left hand side. The wind has just picked up here all of a sudden in Markievicz Park as well, Tom. He's kind of coming across into our faces here over on the terrace side. Yeah,
but certainly probably seems more advantageous. Maybe it wasn't the first half there in favour of Tourlestrane.
This is with Kieran Stenson over on the right on the sideline. It has gone out. Barry Judge quick to raise the flag there, the sideline official, and that's going to be, or the linesman I should say here, and that's going to be an opportunity for Tourlestrane, who are just turning the screw a little bit here. They still trail by 2 points, but they're enjoying a period of dominance, no question about that, as Gary Gaughan wins a free.
Yeah, they are, but what they're doing is, and you can see very clearly the instruction as well, Darragh, from Eamon O'Hara there is, and it's very similar to 2 years ago when they played Calry, when they were under pressure against Calry in a semi-final a number of years ago, where they had to change their tactics, and it's really pushing up in the faces of the Calry players, trying to put pressure on the defenders coming out with the ball when they're a lot more tired now at this stage of the game. And you know, that's what they did in that regard. They forced the turnover and then won the free, and this will bring it back to 1 point game.
Yeah, you'd imagine Conor Marin will pop this one. I think it's Danny Keown that's down receiving a little bit of treatment for Calry St. Joseph's, as well, a little bit of fatigue sets in, and what has been a very warm afternoon, but that wind definitely picking up, there's no question about that, and probably getting a bit of it into our mics here as well, and it's favouring Tourlestrane, isn't it, Tom?
It is. I mean, it seems all of a sudden it's just really blown up, and looking at the tricolour, I mean, it's not directly through the middle of the goals, but it's certainly in the favour of, you know, of the dressing room end here in Markievicz Park, and certainly an advantage of Tourlestrane at this point, and this opportunity now from Conor Marin just to leave one in it.
He will have possibly to consider the elements for this kick, Conor Marin. He's got one this afternoon already, looking for a second. It's up high, and
it's going to drop over.
It's just dropped over, just had enough. A high effort from Conan Marin, and with 16 minutes of the second half, almost 17 minutes played now indeed. No sign of a water break in the second period yet. We may have it now, we do have it just as I speak, and well, all of a sudden it's a slightly different complexion. 1 goal and 7 for Tourlestrane, 3 points without reply over the last 7 minutes. Calry St. Joseph's 11 points, 1 point between the teams. Tommy, this water break might come at a good time for Calry St. Joseph's.
Yeah, it's probably not a bad time for Calry St. Joseph's, and you know, it'd be very interesting with the management had been expected going into the last quarter of the game and their last water break that they're going to be leading by 1 point. You know, maybe they were thinking that they were going to have to be thinking of something different to claw themselves back into the game before the game started, but now they're in a position that where they're still ahead in this game, Darragh. Certainly Tourlestrane have upped the ante. I think Tourlestrane have changed tactics. I mean, very clear to us here looking down at Eamon O'Hara and Jerry McGowan that they're telling the players that, you know, to push up into the faces of the Calry player, don't let them out. You know, it's full court press, and it's working as it did there 2 years ago against Tourlestrane in the last game that Tourlestrane were really under pressure in a game in Sligo. So I mean, it'll be just very interesting to see how it pans out. I mean, Calry have to be tired at this stage, Darragh, in the sense that they put an awful huge amount of effort into that first half and the first 45 minutes of this game in particular. We just see all of a sudden they're losing the little battles, and they're starting to make the mistakes and the turnovers that they weren't doing. They were playing very confidently and very comfortable and composed, but all of a sudden, you know, I sense they're just feeling that pressure of Tourlestrane just up in the ante here particularly in the last 6 or 7 minutes, Darragh.
For Championship football, Tommy, the questions were asked of Tourlestrane. They're responding now, albeit a little bit more belatedly than we would have expected. Now the question's been asked of Calry. They do still have the 1 point advantage, but they're going to need to find I guess a third or fourth wind at this stage and try and put a big last quarter in.
Yeah, well, look, if you're calling it at this stage, you know, you'd have to say that I'd expect Tourlestrane seem to be in the ascendancy now, and they seem to be playing more on the front foot and going at Calry, and I would fancy Tourlestrane, and I'll put my neck on the block at this stage that they will finish out this game. I just think Calry have got no matter what way this game goes for Calry, they're going to take huge confidence and pride out of this game, and huge belief in themselves themselves. I think they've been absolutely outstanding. I think, they've played their system very well. They look like they're getting tired, as I say. Little mistakes that they weren't making are starting to be made, and it's had a big bearing on the game. And Conor Griffin, they're just not finding him in this half, and that's probably testament to this breeze. They're just trying to they're struggling really to find their forward line there for the last probably 7 or 8 minutes, Darragh. So look, at, as you mentioned, the water break probably came at the right time, and a chance for them to regroup. It's on their own kick out, and you're probably going to see Tourlestrane really pushing up on this kick out.
Yeah, opportunity for Tourlestrane now to build on that little bit of momentum that they got from those few scores just before this water break. Regular feature now, of course, in the new normal of Gaelic games. But wonderful, Tommy, that we are watching championship football given all that's going on.
Look, it's absolutely brilliant to be back in Markievicz Park, looking, the real top quality game. It's great. Coming here this afternoon, I expected a good Calry challenge. I know there was a lot of belief within the squad and the team, and as I mentioned earlier, that they do have aspirations, of really competing hard for this championship. They feel that they have the talent within their squad to do that, and I think they've shown everyone in Sligo today thus far that they have. But it'll be very interesting just see exactly what pedigree they have now in the last 10 minutes of this match.
17 minutes 13 seconds on the clock as we restart, which means we have 13 minutes plus stoppage to go as Stephen Henry turns over and wins that mark from the kick out. And here go Tourlestrane straight through the middle, and an opportunity for Cian Surlis, and he's put it to the left and wide. Cian Surlis, and well, he did everything right bar the finish in the end, the youngster, as he got forward there, but he'll be disappointed with his finish, and it's a 5th wide of the afternoon for Tourlestrane.
Yeah, look, there was great intent and purpose, and you can see that Pat Hart has really injected directness in Darragh into the game. Like, he burst through the middle there with real purpose, and conducting things there. And I'm very surprised that Tourlestrane didn't come away with the score.
And Calry might just get the bounce of the ball from this one. They've a new man in the shape of Conor Hershey, who's over here alongside Kieran Stenson, and well, the ball has been turned over by Tourlestrane, who are just really dominating things at the minute. Johnny Kelly's had a quiet second half, and that must be said, Johnny Kelly, but he's in possession now and feeds it out as far as Kenny Gavigan. Gavigan across the 45 will feed it off to Cian Surlis. Little ball aimed inside. There was a tackle not on the player in possession, but one and a man looking for it. Johnny Kelly trying to get away from Johnny McGoldrick, and well, McGoldrick taking him down, and it's going to be a free and an opportunity for Conan Maron from the 45 to have a kick at the post once again, as Johnny McGoldrick gets that yellow card and goes into the referee's notebook. Roy Dillon, our match referee here this afternoon.
Yeah, absolutely. Once again, Calry losing the battle there around the middle. Certainly their tiredness is, Damien O'Boyle doesn't look the player that he's had. Another player that's had a really outstanding match this afternoon, but looks to be tiring a little bit, and the ball has gone wide, and so Calry St. Joseph's the lead. As I mentioned, Damien O'Boyle, a fantastic leader, put an awful lot into the game so far, but is just looking a little bit jaded, as some of the Calry players I feel are.
So just to confirm that change, Conor Hershey coming on for Conal Stenson for Calry St. Joseph's for the final 10 minutes of this contest. We've just played over 19 minutes, so just beyond 10 minutes left for Calry St. Joseph's to try and pull off what would be a big win for them in this championship, but they're going to have to work hard. Damien O'Boyle, as if Boyd, by the comments there, went up and won a brilliant ball, and well, it's a free against him. Deemed to have pushed Stephen Henry, I think, in the back, the call, but Tommy, that's a tough one to take.
Yeah, well, look, it's one that we unfortunately to look back on, but I'm quite surprised. And I was talking about Damien O'Boyle looking like he's going out of the game, and boy, did he prove me wrong. I thought he went up and won a fantastic mark, and trying to get the ball forward early there to Conor Griffin, but I felt it was a wrong call, and it could have a big bearing if Tourlestrane were to level the game from this.
Well, here go Tourlestrane, and the effort kicked in from that left-hand side, and that's 3 wide to the left of the post, so that wind maybe a little bit of a factor in that regard, Tommy.
Yeah, but certainly, and we mentioned that it's blowing towards us here on the terrace side, so definitely might have a bearing on it. Calry have gone out of the game, but they still lead. But it's definitely got, you can hear it through the mics, I'm sure, anyone that's watching at home. But I think Calry are making a substitution.
He's going to replace Paddy Wolf for the closing 10 minutes of this contest.
Well, it's certainly a big player for Calry to bring in. I was surprised. Obviously, Owen Darragh, I'd be very surprised if it was, he obviously was picking up. He's obviously had a knock coming into the game. And once again, brilliant play by Darragh Cummins, and he's gone again.
And And there goes Darragh Cummins, gets it from Damien O'Boyle. What can he do here? Decision making is crucial. Gives it off to Conor Griffin. Griffin steps inside, wants to get on his right boot. The angle got too tight for him. He took a stab at it with his left, and it goes to the left, or with his right foot, and it goes to the left and wide. And they could have used the score there, Tommy.
Yeah, it looked like goal was on and maybe game over there from Calry. What an opportunity. Brilliant play once again. Damien O'Boyle and Darragh Cummins. Darragh Cummins went up the middle like a train. Possibly, you know, the angle that Conor Griffin was offering him wasn't as probably good as what Darragh needed, or even what as good as Conor needed, maybe to get in and to finish the move. But real let off for Tourlestrane.
Yeah, credit Tourlestrane for getting players back, I guess, because they did crowd it out in the end as Johnny Kelly takes it on for them now. And, well, little dummy from Pat Hart, and he takes it on himself, gets it to James Leonard, and Leonard feeds it off to Kenny Gavigan. Good from Tourlestrane, and as I said, Stephen Henry drops the ball but had time enough to recover, gives it off to Liam Gahan. Liam Gahan off the outside the left boot with an absolute belter of a score. Well, into that wind, he judged it to absolute perfection, Tommy.
Yeah, it looked like, I thought, was it going to be the fourth in a row that was going to go wide there on the left hand side, Darragh, but it didn't. I mean, fantastic once again, exactly what you expect from Liam Gahan. I mean, level game, 11 points to 1-8. Big turning point, I suppose, came there. I mean, it looked like Calry should have came away with at least a point. They didn't, and the game now is level. 52
minutes is taken to get back levels. First time the sides have been level since Strohan, and it's Tourlestrane with their heads up now. James Leonard, ball forward to Johnny Kelly. Real danger on here. Tourlestrane bursting through. Conor McGovern can't make the tackle. Kelly goes for goal. It bounces off the post, and we'll go back for the free, as I think the referee adjudged Conor McGovern had tried to take Johnny Kelly down as he went through on goal. He failed in any case, but he's managed to win the free. Maybe he did enough just to put him off. It came back off the post, and opportunities at both ends, Tommy, to put this game out of sight, but we're still square.
Yeah, we are, but I mean, Tourlestrane are probably going to edge in front for the first time in the game, Darragh, at the most appropriate time. Brian McGovern did well, actually, to interfere and probably maybe slightly put Johnny Kelly off. It looked goal written all over it. Brian McGovern threw his body at him. Technically, it wasn't a black card, probably the way he did tackle him. Last night it was the St. Mary's from Cliff game, and then Johnny Martin picked up a black card for when probably interfering with the goal opportunity, pulling down a Drumcliff Ross Point player. And in that 10-minute period, Johnny was off. Drumcliff scored 2-4, so it's great that Brian is still back from a Calry point of view. It's great that Brian is still on the pitch.
Yeah, as Liam Gahan tossed that one over for his 4th point of this second half, and it's Tourlestrane taking the lead for the first time in this contest, and that's come after 54 minutes of play, or just under 54 minutes of play, as we, with 6 minutes left, see Tourlestrane go on the attack once again. Gary Gahan out in front of Conor McGovern, and well, it's a little bit of persistent fouling possibly now from Conor McGovern. He will go into the book this time, I think, unless he went in.
He went in there.
He did go in. This could be a second yellow in quick succession. No, I think he might have got a little bit of a reprieve there from the referee, who looked like he was going to go to the book, but changed his mind at the last minute.
Yeah, I think I was calling Conor McGovern Brian there in the earlier passage, as Conan Merrill chance to put them 2 up.
Yeah, Brian is the goalkeeper awaiting this one from Conan Marin. He tried to use the winds, failed to do so, and never really caught it for him, did it? And out to the right hand side and wide as we approach the final 5 minutes, 24.5 minutes on the clock. 1 point between the teams. Tourlestrane 1 goal and 9. Calry St. Joseph's 11 points. It's remained an intriguing championship tie, as Brian McGovern looks like he's injured himself as he ran up to take that kick out. I think he might have done his ankle there. It's either his ankle or it's a stitch. It's a stitch, just as he tried to run out with it, I think, possibly.
I don't know what's happened there. He's definitely in bother. He stumbled. He looked back at the grass and the ground there, and he seemed to stumble as he was about to kick the ball. So
he was just running up for his goal kick when he collapsed in a heap, and either there's a little divot that he's rolled his ankle in down there, or else one of his leg muscles, which would be far more serious if you're talking about a calf or a hamstring or something. We're going to see Kieran Collum coming in for his championship debut for Sligo, only just out of the minor grades, and well, they were very quick to make the change. Tommy, they obviously know it's not good news from Brian.
Yeah, no, he certainly, I mean, I saw him, we were obviously watching it. He just stumbled as he was about to kick the ball. It looked like he kind of turned and rolled on the ankle. Calry very quickly, I mean, they've obviously identified that he's not staying on when they have a replacement in. Seamus Burns given direct direction. Certainly Calry are still in this game. They have gone out of it, but they're only trailing by the 1 point, Darragh. Very much all to play for with 26 minutes gone.
Yeah, well, it sounds simple from here, Tommy, but the way Conor Griffin is playing, the tactic has to be simple from Calry. Get the ball to him.
It is, but I mean, certainly the breeze has picked up a lot. I think Calry are probably struggling to get that ball now into Conor, but they're struggling around the middle of the park, really. You know, they've gone out of the game in around the middle. I mean, Tourlestrane has started winning all the battles. Pat Hart has had a big influence, I feel, since he's come in. He's broken a lot of ball. He's gone on a lot of ball, and certainly Brian McGovern. And if this is a serious injury, you know, it could potentially be a big blow to Calry St. Joseph's championship aspirations as well. Because, I mean, I thought he looked very, very short in goals. I mean, his kickouts were very, very good, and has made 1 or 2 very good stops as well.
Yeah, denied a certain goal in the from Johnny Kelly in that first half, and with Aidan Devaney already watching here on the sidelines in front of us, to lose a second goalkeeper is hugely unfortunate, as Stephen Henry has really come into this game as well and claimed a couple of kickouts there, and that was another one that he was towering above all and managed to win. And now Pat Hart again offering a little bit of a attacking outlet, but that ball he misjudged and Calry have turned it over. Now an opportunity to get that ball forward to Brian Cox. Brian Shannon, the man that has it, does well, in fairness, Brian Shannon, and now it is Brian Cox, tries to put this one in early. Up goes Owen Doherty, up goes Conor Griffin. What a win from Conor Griffin. 2 on goal now, 3 around him, still Conor Griffin, and well, he tried to feed it off, and wide is the call. No foul on Conor Griffin. Maybe felt he had been held back there. Certainly there's a question being asked of the referee, but the take in the first place was stunning, really.
It was absolutely brilliant. I'm quite surprised that there wasn't a free of some type there. And, you know, very, very surprising. Conor Griffin is actually, seems to be limping around there. He's a very heavily bandaged right knee there, and he seemed to be struggling. But I mean, what a catch and what a field, as you know, Calry needed just to push up on that kick out and not allow Tourlestrane back in possession.
Yeah, they just having the energy levels that we saw in this opening half from Calry. They're just allowing Tourlestrane their own kick out at this stage, and well, they're chasing the game. Don't forget, Tourlestrane went into the lead for the first time after 54 minutes, but they've retained it since, and with just 2 minutes of regulation time on the clock plus a bit of injury time, they lead by 1 goal and 9 to 11 points, a 1 point advantage. Well, there might have been thoughts of a goal there from Conor Griffin. I just wonder, will he think that the point might have been enough in the end, but just outside the 21 for the mark too, which is unfortunate for him.
Absolutely, and it was a good mark and just a tap it over the bar, but he's very much heavily limping back there, as he's trying to get himself going back there. As I look back, he's in the full forward position.
Good play from Stephen Henry to dig out a ball that looked lost there, and Liam Gaughan with the outside the foot sends it over towards Adrian McIntyre. This is where Tourlestrane will just slow things down at their own pace. They know they have the advantage, they know they have the lead, they know they have the players able to slowly build this and maybe get themselves an insurance score. Over on this left hand side now is Kenny Gavigan. Back we go, Conan Marin in possession now outside the 45, ball recycled back to Keane Surlis, and again Tourlestrane clever about it. Liam Gaughan, one of the furthest men back for them, will now attack at pace, gives it on to Conan Marin. He's had a big second half, Conan Marin, but he's caught that one all wrong, and it's out to the left and wide. And Kieran Collum, the substitute keeper for Calry St. Joseph's, will try and give them one last attempt, get this ball up the field. We may see a bit of injury time for that injury to Brian McGovern, but there's just 10 minutes of the ordinary time remaining. Is Kieran Collum, decent kick out in fairness. Adrian Cummins really needs to hold it, but they've done well. Conal Stenson's gone onto it. Now it's with Brian Callahan over towards Darragh Cummins. Darragh Cummins, the man that can definitely lead Calry forward here, but he's going to need to produce something for his team. Forward to Johnny McGoldrick. Just took his eyes off it at the wrong time, McGoldrick, and well, he's won a free, Tommy. Not too sure about that one from here.
Not too sure now either myself now. Don't know how that came about, really.
Well, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt, Roy Dillon, because he was perfectly positioned. He stayed right up with the play for this entire contest, and that could be a big call, you know, because Owen Doherty is well able to hit these free kicks. And well, sideline official when it went from 45 to 46, so Darragh maybe rethought it, but he has opted to put it on the ground now, and he might have a stab at this one into the wind for Calry St. Joseph's, trailing by a point. Injury time in Markievicz Park. It's out to the left and wide from Darragh. He certainly had the distance, but nobody minding the end lines.
And Calry just has to go from this kick out. They can't afford to concede possession from this kick out. You know, if they have a chance at equaliser, Darragh.
Darragh will take his time, no matter what the fans shout at him down here. 31 minutes 15 seconds on the clock. Tourlestrane by a point, 1 goal and 9 to 12. Looking to make it 2 wins from 2. Calry with 2 wins from 2, looking to get something out of this contest. Darragh Cummins is fouled by Johnny Kelly as he gets that ball, and Tourlestrane will bring everyone back as Darragh Cummins restarts. Now Brian Shannon, left hand side, runs into trouble and turns that ball over, and that could be costly, and Brian Cox comes over and, well, he'll give a free that Tourlestrane will welcome and take their time over it, as the referee goes over just to confirm how much injury time he intends to play at the end of this contest. We did have that injury to Calry goalkeeper Brian McGovern that set us back a minute or so. 32 on the clock. Yellow card for Brian Cox. Free for for Tourlestrane, I should say. 1 point advantage for the reigning county champions, looking to retain possession, and they'll do that back inside their own half. A few men forward now as Pat Hart brings it on. Conan Marin's ball was aimed at Keane Surlis. Kieran Stenson shows a clean pair of heels to get past Surlis and get the ball and win it. And was he fouled? No, says the referee, and now he was. But can they get that ball up the pitch though? It's last chance saloon for Calry St. Joseph's as Keane Surlis puts the ball into the stand, and that'll be a yellow card for him, and it'll lead up another couple of seconds. I don't think he'll get in too much trouble with his own management team for that one, Tommy.
No, very cutely done. No, kick the ball into the crowd to make sure that Calry doesn't restart the game quickly, Darragh. It does afford Calry an opportunity, a bad turnover. Bad turnover there from a Tourlestrane point of view. It's affording Calry another opportunity, the last opportunity possibly to get the equalising score.
Brian Shannon comes short. He needs to do better with it this time. Gives it back to Darragh Cummins. That is better. And now over on the right hand side, Conor Heresy is in a bit of space if they need him. Johnny McGoldrick is going to have to negotiate a couple of players before he does that. Looked like he was fouled there. Got the ball back out. Slide tackle from Johnny Kelly means a free for Calry St. Joseph's. Tourlestrane with every player back inside their own half, and every player heading back to their own 45 now, as Darragh Cummins takes it short to Brian Cox. What can Calry muster? They must muster something, because they trail by a point deep in injury time. Conor Heresy back to Aaron Flynn. Well, it's all inside Tourlestrane's half now. 30 players, well, 29. The Calry goalkeeper has stayed back, but here's Conor McGovern. Dummies the pass to Kieran Stenson, but needs a little something. Aaron Flynn goes back to Darragh Cummins. Referee with his whistle had a quick look there. Play goes on. Johnny McGoldrick tries to flick it on towards Brian Callahan. Might still break for Calry. Conor Griffin, can he get onto it? He can't. The ball is turned over. We may hear a full-time whistle there, Tommy, I think. Or have we? No, we haven't. There was a whistle, I think it might have been a Tourlestrane. No, it is a full-time whistle. It is. The players now make their way off. It's finished in disappointment for Calry St. Joseph's. 1 goal and 9 for Tourlestrane. 11 points for Calry St. Joseph's. The minimum between the teams. And that is that enduring quality of Tourlestrane footballers digging it out when they look like they're under the cosh a little bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely, and you know, probably Tourlestrane will probably, even while they have lost, while they've won the game, and they've won it probably not playing as well as they normally would, Darragh, and I think that's going to be, you know, a great comfort to Tourlestrane, because they'll know themselves, and as we see the Borden kind of been pushed behind us, it just shows that the breeze has really picked up to Tourlestrane's advantage in the second half there. But you know, look, a typical Tourlestrane performance, while not playing at their best. They still grinded out a 1-point win. Calry will have regrets, you know, there's no doubt about it. They're Conor Griffin there, maybe not, you know, calling the mark there and tapping the ball over the bar, going for the goal. But overall, I mean, certainly from Calry St. Joseph's point of view, they'll take an awful lot out of this game, Darragh, in the sense that, you know, they showed real quality throughout the game. I think that they're real championship contenders now at this stage. There's no doubt about that. You know, they played with a lot of confidence, and you know, I was really impressed with them.
Yeah, good performance from Calry St. Joseph's, but ultimately falling just too short. You have to pay tribute for Tourlestrane, digging it out once again. We have co-manager Jerry McGowan alongside us now. We'll try and get a word with Jerry just to reflect on that performance from his side and their ability to see out a victory at a time when Calry led for the vast majority of that game. Jerry, thanks very much for joining us. A little bit of a sense of relief there, Jerry?
Yeah, look, I suppose we have to credit our lads for sort of digging it out in the last few minutes, but up until that, it was, I suppose it was very jittery all over the park, really. You know, I thought, you know, maybe some lads got caught between two minds in different positions, and you know, we kicked a lot of frees wide today, which normally we'd be sort of on top of, and in front of the post we probably made some unusual decisions. But saying that, Calry, I thought, did their homework today. I thought they worked really, really hard. I mean, I was really, really impressed with their physicality. Like, they're a really big side. You know, they did well in the middle of the field and breaking ball, and you know, I suppose we sort of had to match that more so than sort of them having to match us today, and we're not used to that. But like that, sort of playing bad and sort of grinding out a result is good from our point of view. And you know, to be fair, you know, Liam, you know, kicked some nice points there. Conan did well, and you know, we sort of kept the ball well when we sort of needed to, and closed the game out. And look, we're under no illusions. We've never won a championship without having a battle somewhere along the way. And you know, we did say, you know, today that could be the battle, and you know, as it turned out, it was.
Yeah, was that the encouraging thing for you, Jerry? Is regardless of the performance, the character that the team showed to dig one out without having probably their best display? Yeah,
look, I mean, yeah. Look, we'll go back and we'll be disappointed with that performance. There's no doubt, and most teams would. But at the same time, you know, I think our experience sort of came through in the end. Maybe, you know, and maybe when Calry retired a little bit, we sort of used the ball better and maybe had them chasing us a bit more. And you know, we put Pat Hart in there, and you know, he sort of controlled things a little bit better at midfield. And you know, to be fair to Blondie, he won maybe 4 or 5 kickouts in the second half that really sort of, you know, when you're taking the mark and stuff, you know, it sort of settled us down. We got a chance to move inside, and you know, we made use of that. And you know, it shows that, you know, winning your own kick or winning the opposition's kick out is a very important stat in terms of where the scores come from. Like, you know, so you know, and today, and to be fair too, the wind picked up and it didn't help Calry in the second half either. We were glad to get that. Where if it was the other way around, maybe Calry would have got a couple of sneakier scores, or you know, a couple of the frees that they had there might have just crept over with the 8 of the breeze. So look, again, happy to take the breeze. It's the second group game. We've a break now for a week, gives us a chance now to sort of work on a couple of things and regroup. We've a lot of injuries in the camp, you know, like every other squad that sort of came back and hit the ground running really fast, you know, maybe not conditioned the way they should be, or you know, just, you know, maybe minding themselves because they know that, you know, the later stages, you know, if they don't get them right now, they might miss out. So look, lots of things to work on. Happy to get the result, and you know, fair play to Calry. I think they really put it up to us today.
Yeah, just to touch on something you mentioned there, the introduction of Pat Harris and the little bit of reshape that went on around the middle. Tommy, you highlighted that during the commentary as well.
Yeah, no, I thought Pat Hart had a big bearing when he came in. I do agree with Jerry as well, and I think Jerry's hit all the points really there. You know, the Calry started tiring a little bit, and I think that just the experience of Tourlestrane really came into play. Pat Hart, I thought, had a big bearing. You know, he broke a lot of ball, he just got on ball, conducted it, and just, you know, started looking, you know, been very positive on the ball when he was on it, like looking to go direct. I think though, at the same time, you know, the point is made there, the Tourlestrane won a game when they were probably very much off tune really, and I think that's going to be the biggest comfort for them, in the sense that they grinded out a very, very good victory against a very well I suppose managed Calry team, in the sense that I just thought they had great purpose about everything that they were about really. You know, they recycled the game very, very well. They had a lot of composure, they waited. a lot of the times, particularly in the first half, they did find it more difficult in the second half. But I just felt that they waited for their opportunities very well. They mixed it up very well at times, Jerry. I felt that sometimes they recycled around the middle and they kept the ball. They waited for the player off the shoulder. He broke the line, and the credit scoring. And then balls, absolutely, and then you had the fact then they used to mix it up and get the ball in long to Griffin, and it was nearly like it got you into a false sense of illusion that you think they're going to recycle, and all of a sudden this big ball into Griffin, and Griffin was outstanding today. I mean, he was unmarkable.
Yeah,
really.
he reminded me a bit of Niall Murphy in the county final last year in the first half. Like, he kicked everything he kicked went over, and that we were 6-1 down at one stage, or 4-1, 5-1 down, or something. And look, to be fair, he was probably the reason for that. And as I said, Cawley got it right. I think more so than anything else. So. Yeah.
You did mention the deficit at that stage. That goal did prove crucial in the end. Even at the time, it felt like it was going to be important.
Yeah. Look, I mean, we haven't had Johnny for a while, and that we didn't play him last week, and he came back in there today. He's a small bit rusty, but look, he has the magic, and when he turns it on. To be fair, he may not have had the engine to go and do another one straight after. He probably went down on the hunkers, but to be fair, when he shows that little bit of magic, it's very hard to argue with it. And James just tapped it into the net on the back of that. So look, and then it brought us back into the game, and then look, I think Calry pushed on after that for another point or two, to be fair to them, and look, as I said, it sort of went down to the last 10 minutes really in the end.
I just want to come back to one other point you made about winning the kickouts and that. Fair to say you were under a little bit of pressure in that regard from your own kickouts in the first half?
Look, absolutely. I mean, look, we did the matchups beforehand. We were looking at man for man, and we felt that Adrian and Damien were sort of two big guys that they could target, and we felt that maybe even going short in our own kick out was more to our advantage today, to sort of maybe give us that. But Calry went man for man. If you notice, sort of in the first half, they went man for man all around the field, which didn't give us the chance to almost and sort of forced us to go long, which again was sort of good homework from them. And look, we probably didn't put the kick outs as much to our advantage that I would have liked. Maybe in hindsight, we were sort of going 50-50 or sometimes 60-40 to them, and I think again they capitalised on that, and as I said, they made hay on the back of that in the first half. So like that, I think you're right, Tommy. Pat sort of steadied the ship there in the second half. He brings that cuteness and guile, even in terms of sort of knocking the ball to our advantage, even on a break. He sort of makes the best of breaking ball and steadies the ship. And again, sort of we haven't had him sort of until the latter stages or up until the last few weeks. But as you can see there, when he comes in, he's sort of a great presence about the place, and good guy to boot. So. Okay.
Just very finally, Jerry. If you are to go and put a 5 in a row together this year, I mean that's a good indicator there of the hurdles that are going to have to be overcome.
Yeah, look, Tommy, this, and I mean, no championship is one easy in Sligo. It's your hardest. It's a hard championship to win. Last year we probably hit good spell of form, but this year there was no sort of mechanism to sort of build form or sort of work through things in the league or try things in the league, and we sort of came back into camp or after the lockdown and sort of try to get into everything at a million miles an hour, and we're still rusty and we're still sort of trying to find our feet. And last year, like, we would have had the league or some challenge games or that to sort of weed that stuff out or get fellas to play themselves into a bit of form, and look, I think fitness that is a huge bearing, and you see in the other games, the other club games, there's a lot of black cards and yellow cards and red cards being given out in the last 10 or 15 minutes, and teams are sort of winning and losing games really in the last 10 or 15 minutes. And I think okay, we've a bit of a break now, maybe to work on a bit of that over the next while, but I still don't think we're going to get up to sort of championship pace that we would have been at in previous years. Definitely not, and I think that's going to be a big factor. Yeah.
Very well done.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
Tommy, just to pick up on that, I mean, is that an indication of a healthy club championship when you watch a contest like that?
Oh, I think so. It's great. I mean, that's what you want. I mean, I was here, as I said last night, and Drumcliff, Ross's Point, playing my own club, St Mary's, and I think it's the first time ever that Drumcliff, Ross's Point, has beaten St Mary's in championship football, and really great performance by them. Once again, they were a very well marshalled team in the sense as Calry St Joseph's were today, and very impressed with them, and I think it probably bodes well for the championship that, you know, you have these teams coming, and I think everyone is believing a lot as well. You know, it's a lot shorter season. You know, the commitment levels. You know, players. Some teams have got players back that they didn't have because they're shorter period. I suppose it's going to be a shorter championship, and I think it's healthy for the championship. And I just think that performance by Calry today as well will give a lot of belief to other clubs. You know, that on any given day that Tourlestrane could be vulnerable.
Yeah, there is a sense that, you know, it's real knockout championship football in every match, isn't there, because of the shortened structure, I guess.
Yeah, well, absolutely, because I mean the fact that, you know, I suppose last year, you know, that, you know, 4 teams qualified for quarterfinals, the fact that there's only 2 teams now qualifying from each group for the semi-finals makes it more championship-like football, I believe, Darragh, in that sense. I mean, obviously Tourlestrane, you know, will now likely top the group in their section, but it's still very much all to play for in the other section, where you have Shamrock Gales, Drumcliff, Marys, and Tubbercurry playing it out. Eastern Harps are probably the team that looks under pressure, but just very, very much it's a very open championship at the moment.
David Cummins is along with us as well, from the manager of Calry St. Joseph's as well. Might get a quick word with David, no doubt. Disappointed ultimately in the end. David, thanks very much for speaking with us. Jerry McGowan and Tommy Breheny have been singing your side's praises. Probably no consolation, unfortunately, in terms of the result, though.
I don't know. Like, to be honest, you know, when we looked at this at the beginning of the year, and even you see the way the results that are going, we probably still have to. We always had to go out and beat Calry in the last game anyway, and I suppose that's our sort of focus. The game was there to be. We have a lot of guys who probably haven't played at that intensity in a good while. You know, we had a lot of young fellas who have come in, like Brian Calla, Colin Stinson, and a few of those guys. So, no, overall, I'd be quite happy. Probably we had 2 chances. If the team was a little bit more mature, we had 2 chances to score in the second half when we were still a point up. If we'd taken those, you know, all of a sudden the scoreboard changes and things like that. But you know, they're a good test. Tourlestrane threw everything they had. They took everything they had off the bench to try and stop us. We saw what they had. They saw what we had. Like, you know, I want to be playing them once more this year. It's as simple as that, and that is our plan.
In terms of your team line out, the homework Jerry McGowan says was done by Calry St. Joseph's coming in, that they were maybe a little bit caught by just how well your team was structured and how much pressure they were put under. You've obviously put a lot of effort into that.
I would say the exact opposite. I think if people are saying that, they're not giving our guys credit. I think we have some fantastic footballers out there, and anybody who's watching football and can't identify the good footballers Calry have, probably I'd question their knowledge of football. Did we give them structure? Over the last number of years, when you see Dermot and Keith had them for 2 years, I thought they did a fantastic job with this group to take them on. We've just taken them on a little bit with a few more new players on. Am I shocked with that performance? No. Would I like to see it more often from a Calry out team? Yes. But no, it's up to us to build on that. And we've some very, very good players there. And in fairness, I think they all showed their mettle today. You know, maybe a little bit of naivety or cuteness, maybe, just to kill off the game what was needed today. But we'll grow on that. You know, and you know, let's call a spade a spade. If Tourlestrane lose one match this year, I'd like it to be in final, and I'd like us to be playing against them. So we have to do our job. Nothing changes here. We have to play Calry in 2 weeks' time. We need to get a result. If we don't back that result up, then that's the failure. We have to back that result up with another good performance in 2 weeks' time.
I think, to be fair, Jerry meant it as a compliment to yourself and your coaching team. But I take your point, and Tommy, that's something you picked up on, was the ability and the confidence in the Calry players today.
No, very much. I think we talked about it in the sense that they looked very confident of what they were doing, and they had great belief in the way they were playing. I just thought the work rate was absolutely tremendous. I just thought the support play by the Calry players was absolutely brilliant. I did feel the Calry tired there in the last quarter. There's no doubt about it. I thought that Pat Hart had a big influence coming in to the middle of the park. Them breaking balls all of a sudden, rather than falling into Calry hands, were falling into Tourlestrane hands. The breeze had a big, you know, I do believe had a big factor. I mean, it negated, I suppose, Calry's chances of getting that long ball into Conor Griffin, because all of a sudden, you know, the breeze did pick up quite considerably here in the second half. Certainly, I believe Jerry and the point he made was just, it was very much a compliment to the Calry structure, that very much had their homework done, that, you know, that they outwitted them somewhat maybe on the kick-out strategy that Calry approached, you know, pushing up on the Tourlestrane players, not allowing them, you know, short kick-outs early on. And but look, from a Calry point of view, Dave was saying that you know, they have to pick up on that result against Calry. I'm sure he means the performance, not the result.
I thought I said that myself.
In the sense, but you know, look at it, it's great. It's real championship football now at this stage. But certainly Calry is going to take great pride and credit, you know, and comfort out of the performance that they showed their abilities there today, and certainly a number of weeks now to work on their fitness and to get that up to a level that they can keep going do it for the 60 minutes.
Yeah, every team, David, is going to struggle with injuries. We know that in the short spell, the no real pre-season. To lose 2 goalkeepers is a bit jarring, though.
And to lose 3 would be very stupid, wouldn't it? To be honest, we're sort of lucky in a roundabout way. Is we'd have 3 or 4 guys more back. I'd expect that back for the next match. Do you know what I mean? So we've lost Brian, but to be honest, there was a plan in place for that if that happened anyway. So that'd be one thing. But like, if the hurling manager had let Ronan play with us more often, he's another guy to come back into it. Ronan wasn't able to make it. He's in the middle of sort of exams. Owen Nicholson is coming back into it. Darragh Bryan is coming back into it. Joey Farrell has been excellent the last two matches with the junior team. And then we've a wreck of young fellas coming along, like Sean Cawley and you know, Mark Flanagan, and even Kieran, our third fella. Do you know what I mean? They're you know, showing an effort. And if anybody even went out to watch our junior match last night, it wasn't maybe to the quality of that, but you know, there was a lot of young fellas who gave a good account of themselves in a great ding-dong battle with Tubber, and you know, all the things that you like about Gaelic football. It was a real ding-dong, ref let it go, there was great fun, but the young fellas got a huge amount of enjoyment out of it. So we might, you know, if we don't pick up any more injuries, if anything, we'd have 3 or 4 more guys coming back into the picture, which would help us a lot.
Brilliant. Okay, David, best of luck for the remainder of the championship campaign, and thanks very much for coming up and speaking with us.
Okay, no problem. Thanks very much, lads.
Okay, Tommy, just to wrap things up from ourselves, I guess, you know, David certainly taking the positives, and he's right to do it from that performance today.
Well, me knowing David as well as I know him, he'll be very happy with that result and performance today. And when I say result, you know, we talked about, I think before the game as well, Darragh, about, you know, maybe there's only one time you'll beat Tourlestrane one time in a year, and he'd prefer to be beating them in the final. I mean, obviously you can see the ambition there that he expects to be playing Tourlestrane again, so the only time that they can actually play Tourlestrane again is in a final. So I think it's showing the ambition of the Calry club, and I think you could see that ambition today on the pitch and the way they played. And as I says, I just thought real super performance. But having said that, Tourlestrane, an under par Tourlestrane team, still grinded out the win. And as Jerry said, I mean, things started going their way, and you know, they'll take a lot of comfort in the fact that they'll look at a lot of their players individually and maybe grade them, and a lot of guys were below the level that they would normally play at, and that must give them a lot of comfort that there's huge, you know, improvement in their own performance.
Okay, it's been a really entertaining afternoon in Markievicz Park, a cracking contest to bring you as well some real superb football, some brilliant scores. We hope you've enjoyed it as much as we have. And from the Homeland Senior Football Championship here in Markievicz Park, we sign off on a full-time score of Calry St. Joseph's 11 points, Tourlestrane 1 goal and 9.